Good morning.
Good morning, students.
Good morning, everyone.
So just as a reminder, please do not write your name in the comments at all. After the end of our live, you guys will be dropping your name in our DM, either mine or Ms. Simmons. Also, only show your work and do not show your face. We will be working from week 2 distance learning packet for ELA. You will need a pen or a pencil and at least 1 to 2 sheets of paper. Hello, good morning. You're going to number the paper from 1 to 4. Good morning. Make sure you have an additional sheet of paper as well as your packet. 2 sheets of paper. Thank you guys for being on time. Good morning.
So we're going to start in about 1 minute.
Good morning. Make sure you have 2 sheets of paper. Please number your paper from 1 through 4 so we can get ready to get started on our do now. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Ms. O, can you see this okay?
Yes.
Can you all give us a thumbs up if you can see the screen completely? Can you give us a thumbs up if you can see the screen completely?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We do have a number of things to cover today since we don't have class on Thursday.
Okay, so here we are with our do now. You all are going to use your context clues to define each highlighted word. I'll read each sentence. I'll pause briefly to give you an opportunity to write down what you believe the word means. You're also going to think about what words in a sentence might have helped you to define the word. So make sure your paper is numbered 1 through 4. Number 1, after the bird escaped, Chris tried to coax it back into the cage with treats. Again, after the bird escaped, Chris tried to coax it back into the cage with treats. Write down what you believe the meaning of the word coax is for number 1. Now for number 2. After receiving just a single slice of pizza at the party, Josh was disappointed. He had hoped for a more substantial portion. What do you believe the word substantial means? You're going to write that beside number 2. Next, number 2, one more time. After receiving just a single slice of pizza at the party, Josh was disappointed. He had hoped for a more substantial portion. Now for number 3. It is difficult to sustain a smile when your whole world is falling apart. I hear echo. I don't know if they do. Sustain.
Do you still hear it?
Let me see. I'm going to read number 3 one more time. It is difficult to sustain a smile when your whole world is falling apart. Nope, not anymore. And lastly, number 4, it is difficult to forgive someone who has hurt you, even if that person is penitent and expresses regret for their decisions. Penitent. So by now you should have numbered your paper 1 through 4. You would have put down what you believe the definition of coax is: substantial, sustain, and lastly, penitent. It is difficult to forgive someone who has hurt you, even if that person is penitent and expresses regret for their decisions.
All right, so if we have any volunteers that would like to share their answers, it doesn't have to be every answer 1 through 4, but if you want to share 1 or 2, this is not on your on the packet. This is just your do now. If you would like to share an answer, please give us a thumbs up or a high five. Again, the words are coax, substantial, sustain, and penitent. If you would like to try to define one of these words, please give us a thumbs up or a high five. You may also write your answers in the comment box below. All right, I'm gonna pop
Okay, so I guess I'll pop out and then see if you can get some volunteers, Ms. Simmons.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let us know which numbers you're working on, what you thought the word meant, and why you thought the word meant that.
Could I do 1 and 3? For number 1, I got bribe because it said Chris tried to coax it back into the cage with treats, and when you try to get something to do something for you, you give them something in return.
Okay, so you said bribe. Okay, good. What about number 3?
And number 3, I said keep or hold, and she said it is difficult to sustain a smile when your whole world is falling apart. So she was like trying to hold her smile or something.
All right, so she was trying to keep it even though everything was going downhill, okay? All right, thank you so much. We appreciate your sharing and volunteering. I'm going to pop you out.
Okay.
I see one more student that I'm going to have join in. Mr. Smith, I am coming for you. If I see, yep. Good morning. If you just joined us, we are working on our do now for the next couple of minutes, and we are waiting on a student volunteer to join in. Okay, I'm going to try one more student before we review. Good morning. If you just joined us, we are working on our do now for a couple more minutes. We are waiting on a student volunteer, and then we're going to review and move on. Okay. Remember, a great way to earn credit is to join the lives, participate in the comment section. Okay, and Ms. O, I'm going to pop you back in so we can review. It's not allowing me to connect with the students. Hopefully it does for you. All right.
Okay. Thank you so much for everyone who commented in the comment section. We appreciate it so much. Thank you for sharing out. Now we're going to go ahead and review the definitions of those words. So coax means to gently persuade. He attempts to get the bird to do what he wants. Coax means to gently persuade. Number 2, substantial, of a good size or amount, or of importance. Readers can conclude that Josh wanted more pizza. He wanted a good size or an amount. And number 3, sustain means to maintain something that would otherwise fall out of existence. It is hard to maintain a smile when things are going badly. And lastly, we have penitent, feeling pain or sorrow on account of one's actions or guilt. A penitent person expresses regret, guilt, pain, or sorrow. Thanks again for everyone who shared out. Let's move on. Okay, just a quick recap on the things we've covered so far. We've read our anchor text at least twice, Pattern for Freedom. We've covered our vocabulary terms. We've also completed many lessons on the Frayer model, writing an objective summary with a graphic organizer, and we have reviewed the text-dependent question set. By now, you all should have completed your 5 Frayer models, your question set in the packet from pages 7 through 9. You should have written and submitted your objective summary from page 10, and you should have completed your Edulastic assignment number 3. We are still collecting those, so if you have not submitted, please do so.
Thank you. All right, for today's objective, we are going to break down the writing prompt for your essay. We are also going to be drawing and collecting evidence in response to your culminating writing prompt. We're going to be drawing an evidence collection chart to collect evidence for your writing prompt. All right, so these are our main 2 focus areas for today. All right, so please turn to page, if you have the packet, turn to page 12 to view the writing prompt, but you're not breaking down the writing prompt on page 12. We want you to take out a separate sheet of paper and go ahead and create a do what chart for the prompt you're about to see. So again, if you have the packet, turn to page 12 to view this writing prompt. Everybody should have out a separate sheet of paper to make a do what chart. We're first going to clarify some words or vocabulary within the prompt before we break it down. All right. So again, create a do what chart on a separate sheet of paper. Remember, we identify the verbs first and we write them down on the do side in chronological order. We then get those words attached to the verbs and write them on the what side. We summarize our prompt and then we break down the paragraphs and organize them for our writing. So here is today's prompt. Ms. O, you mind reading this out?
Sure. All right, so here is the prompt that we are going to break down. You have read Pattern for Freedom. Using evidence from the text, explain what people have learned from studying slave quilts. Be sure to use examples and details from the text to describe your understandings about the historical significance of slave quilts.
All right. So before we start breaking this down, can someone clarify the word evidence? What do we mean by the word evidence?
Please drop your answers in the comment section. What do we mean by evidence? You guys are quiet this morning. Mm-hmm. We know you know the answer. What does the word evidence mean? Okay, proof, details, exact details from the text.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, what about the word explain? Evidence, good statements from this. Great. What about the word explain? What does it mean to explain something? Let's get a synonym for the word explain. Yes. Tell. Great. So we're going to tell what people have learned. Now, what about the word studying? That word studying. What's another word for studying? Think about the academic vocabulary we use in class. I'll give you a hint. It starts with an A. So again, we're looking at the word studying. Can we find another word for studying?
Okay, to
Researching.
research.
Okay.
In what way are we learning? How are we learning when we study?
I saw the word analyze.
Great job.
Thank
Analyze.
you. Now, examples and details. Examples and details. How can we clarify those two words? Examples and details. They both refer to what? Once again, we're looking at the words examples and details. They both refer to what?
What do we mean if we say we want you to use examples and details? What are we talking about? What is it we want you to use in your writing? Drop your answers in the comment section. What do we mean by examples or details? To show in what way? Elaborate.
Evidence.
What type of evidence?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're going to make sure we use relevant evidence so it directly supports whatever answer we put down. Now, look at the word describe. Can we clarify the word describe? Can we clarify the word describe? What does it mean to describe?
Morning, Miss Mia. If we ask you to describe something, what are we asking you to do? Please drop your comments. To explain.
Show your understanding. Tell about your understanding, okay?
Good morning, Ms. Proctor.
Good morning. And then we kind of already went over understandings, but let's look at historical significance. Historical significance. What do they mean by historical significance? What does historical mean? What does significance mean?
If something has historical significance, what are they saying about it? What does that mean? Historical significance. It has a meaning in history. Great. Anyone else like to add?
Okay. So if something is significant, that means it's an important part of our history. All right. So another word for significance is important, and it's an important part of our history. All right. So now, go ahead. Let's break down this prompt. What goes on the do side? What goes on the what side? How do you summarize it? And how do we break down these paragraphs? We posted this yesterday in preparation for today. So if you have already broken this prompt down, and you want to share any part of the do what chart or the paragraph breakdown section, go ahead and put either a thumbs up or a high five in the comment section if you want to share any answers from your do what chart and paragraph breakdown.
Again, your verbs go on the do side. One word answers. You're going to do, list your verbs, and then what is it you're going to do? The rest of the details will go on the what side. And then we would like you to break down what is going to go in each paragraph, as well as briefly summarize in your own words what the prompt is asking you to do. So again, if you would like to share any portion of this, please make sure you give us a thumbs up or a high five. You guys have been doing great with participation today. We greatly appreciate it. Awesome job. If you just joined us, you're completing your do what chart at this time, writing down your verbs in terms of what to do. And then on the what side, what are we doing with those verbs, as well as a brief summary in your own words of the writing prompt. And you're breaking down what will go in each paragraph. We are looking for volunteers, at least 2, to share out. Make sure you give us a thumbs up if you want to share out.
I'm going to try to pull some kids in real quick. I'll pop you out.
Okay.
Hopefully it connects with you all. And please answer the request. We are giving live school points. We're also giving extra credit for those of you who join our lives. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
All right, which part will you be sharing? The do what chart, the summarizing part, or the paragraph breakdown?
The do what?
Okay, what do you have?
Using on the do what chart have using. The do what? Wait, the do side have using, explain, use. Wait, yeah, use and describe.
And then what do you have on the what side?
Evidence from the text. What people have learned from studying slave quilts. Be sure to use examples and details from the text to and your understanding about the historical significance of slave quilts.
So again, I heard you say you're on the do side. You have using, explain, and use.
Yeah.
Did you attempt the summary sentence yet?
The paragraph outline.
The summary sentence right here. Did you summarize the prompt in your own words yet?
Yeah.
What did you say?
I put. Wait. That's not on my paper.
That's fine. Did you try to organize the paragraphs yet? Oh.
Yes, but I didn't do it right.
What do you have?
I said, paragraph for freedom is about young women who are slaves, and they make quilts to communicate and to help.
Wait. What do you? Is this your paragraph breakdown, or is this you actually writing your essay?
I didn't write the essay.
So what part are you reading right now?
The paragraph things.
Okay, go ahead.
So
what's the title of paragraph 1? You don't have to tell me what you put specifically for paragraph 1, but what's paragraph 1 through 5? How do we label it?
Oh, that's what I did wrong.
That's fine.
I just put first paragraph, second paragraph, and third paragraph.
Okay. So, you have to finish that part before we actually go into writing our essay. I'm going to pop you out, see if one more student wants to join before we move on, okay?
Okay.
Thank you for sharing.
Right. You're welcome.
All right, one more student. Is one more student brave enough to share what they have? Let's see. And again, thank you for those who are volunteering. This is not easy, so we appreciate you. And we are waiting on one more student volunteer. Good morning again. How are you?
Good morning.
All right, you ready to share?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what are you sharing with us?
My do what chart.
Okay, go ahead.
So, for my do side, I have explain, and then for my what side, I have what people have learned from studying quilts, and then I have on my do side use, and then I have examples and details on my what side. And then on my do side, I have describe, and then on my what side, I have your understanding about the historical significance of slave quilts.
Thank you very much. Now, did you try to break down the paragraphs yet?
No.
All right, do you automatically know what paragraph 1 and paragraph 5 are?
Your introduction and conclusion.
Okay, keep that in mind. We're about to review all 5 paragraphs, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay, again, thank you for everybody who shared. Let's go ahead and start reviewing. So, if we're looking at this correctly, in the prompt it said using, we're going to put use, evidence from both, evidence from the text, explain, like you all said, what people have learned, and then use. We could have pulled out describe and put it over here and put the remaining part of the what over here, but I just put it all in one sentence. So we're going to use examples or information from the text to describe what we better understand about the historical significance of slave quilts. So you mind reading out that sentence, the summary sentence?
Sure. Write an essay that discusses what people learn from analyzing slave quilts and explain what I better understand about the importance of slave quilts in our history.
All right. So this is our example. Oh, go ahead.
And this is how you should have organized or labeled your paragraphs. Paragraph 1 would include the introduction, meaning the title and author, and you're going to state what the text is about and state the purpose of the essay. Paragraph 2, the first thing people learn from studying slave quilts will be included in this paragraph. You would state one thing that people learned from studying slave quilts with at least one piece of evidence using the racist format. For paragraph 3, you would include the second thing that people learned from studying slave quilts. You would state another thing that people learned with one piece of evidence. Again, you're going to be using the racist format. And then fourth paragraph, you're going to write down the understanding of the importance of slave quilts. Here you will discuss what you better understand about the importance of slave quilts during slavery, and you would include 2 pieces of evidence that you would discuss there, also using the racist format. And then we have our conclusion for paragraph 5. This is where you recap the main points of your essay.
All right. And remember, when you're recapping the main points, that's everything from your body paragraphs, paragraphs 2 through 4. Okay. This will be posted after class, so you don't have to sit and try to write this down. This will be posted after class for reference. Any questions so far? We're about to move on to our last section of class today. If you have a question, go ahead and write it now.
Drop any questions you might have in the comment section.
And if you don't have any questions, go ahead and put a thumbs up or a high five. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay, now if you have your packet, let's go ahead and turn to page 12, that blank page. It should look something like this. Nope, that's objective summary. Right here, where you see the prompt and everything else is blank. If you have your packet, go ahead and turn to page 12. If you don't have your packet, go ahead and get out a sheet of paper, or you can turn on the back side of your Do Now. We're about to create our evidence collection chart and begin to fill it in. So once again, if you have the packet, turn to page 12. If you do not have the packet, you should have a blank sheet of paper in front of you. And this is what we need you to draw. Right now it's blank. In a second, you're going to see it filled with words, but this is the structure of the graphic organizer. You should be drawing on page 12 or on your blank sheet of paper, and it should cover your entire page. We're going to leave this up for about 30 seconds. Once again, we are on page 12 if you have the packet. If not, you are using a blank sheet of paper to create this graphic organizer. And again, it should cover your entire page. You have a good 15 seconds left.
Once you have already drawn the graphic organizer, please give us a thumbs up or a high five to let us know that we can go ahead and move on. Once you have already drawn it on your paper and packet, inside the packet on page 12, or either on your blank sheet of paper. Thank you for your responses.
All right, now here we go. So you don't have to write everything down that you're about to see in this moment, because again, this will be posted after class. You can get down as much as you want to at this point, but it'll again be posted after class. So right now you should already have the structure of the graphic organizer. This is how it will look, or this is how it looks completely. So remember, our graphic organizers help us break up our body paragraphs at the end of the day. So we have a section for paragraph 2. We have a section for paragraph 3. Sorry, and we have a section for paragraph 4, right? Remember, this goes directly back to, sorry for moving so quickly, it goes directly back to our paragraph format. We're working with paragraphs 2, 3, and 4 in regards to the graphic organizer, okay? So for our first 2 paragraphs, or second and third paragraph, remember we are stating things that people learn from studying slave quotes. So we'll have our answer, a piece of evidence, and our reasoning for our second paragraph. And for our third paragraph, we'll do the same thing. A different thing that people learn from studying slave quotes with evidence and reasoning. All right? So that's paragraph 2, paragraph 3, and this is what should be inside of your chart. Again, you don't have to try to get all of this down right now, because you'll see it right after class. When we get to this bottom section, all of this is paragraph 4. Remember, because we need 2 pieces of evidence. So, did I do this right?
In this paragraph, you would have your claim and answer. What do you better understand about the importance of slave quilts during slavery? Right after you write down your claim for this section, you would find a piece of evidence directly from the text, and then you would put your reasoning. This piece of evidence shows, and then you would explain to us what the evidence shows, referring back to the claim. And then on the other side, you would include your second piece of evidence. You would write your claim about what you better understand about the importance of slave quilts during slavery. Then you would include your second piece of evidence. And with this, you would also say this piece of evidence highlights, again, referring back to what this piece of evidence shows the reader.
All right, so again, this is what your graphic organizer should look like. You're going to fill in the answers everywhere else. For the rest of the class, we're going to be working on one example for each one. So let's go ahead and start. So let's look at this top section. Some of this is filled out, the other part is not. Let's look at the one we're going to work on together. So, what do people learn from studying slave quilts? People learned that secret codes were embedded in the quilts to help guide runaway slaves to freedom. We don't have a piece of evidence yet, but this piece of evidence should show that secret codes were sewn into quilts to help slaves escape to safety and freedom. Our question to you is, what piece of evidence directly proves that people learned that secret codes were put in the quilts to help runaway slaves? We need your help to find a piece of evidence that proves our claim.
So at this time, we are going back into the text to find that piece of evidence that proves this. So you will be able to refer us to a certain section of the text, and also you will be reading a line directly from the text because we do have the quotation marks.
So again, we are looking for a piece of evidence that shows that people learned that secret codes were put into the quilts to help guide runaway slaves to freedom. All right. If you have the text in front of you, can you put a thumbs up or a high five? I don't want to pull someone in who doesn't have the text in front of them. If you have the text in front of you to look for evidence, can you please put a thumbs up or a high five? And remember, we're looking for a direct quote. A direct quote, which means you pulled it right from the text. I see one thumbs up.
Anyone else have the text in front of them?
All right, Miss, I'm going to try to pull this student in for the sake of time.
Okay.
Pop you out. Okay, hopefully. Mr. Fleming, I am coming for you. And again, this will be posted as well after class for you all to reference. Okay, that did not work. All right, one more person I'm going to try. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, you ready to share your answer or your evidence?
I didn't find one yet.
Okay. So, where could we look in the text to find a piece of evidence that tells us that there were codes put in there to help them get to safety and run away? So you can give us the page number 7, 8, or 9.
It could be the first page, I believe.
Okay, what does it say? Where are you at? We need a piece of evidence that shows us that codes were input into the quilt to help guide them to safety. Can you find an example or any detail that proves that?
I didn't find one yet. I was looking when you was looking for people.
All right, do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Look between page 7 and 8, the bottom part of page 7, the top part of page 8. Is there anything we can pull from these, from this paragraph? About messages input into quilts to help slaves get to freedom or safety? And for those of you still watching, if you found one, you can go ahead and write it in the comment section. Thank you.
The I found it on page 9.
Okay. What does it say?
It says, however, black later became to have a different meaning on the Underground Railroad. When runaway slaves trying to escape to the north saw a quilt with black fabric hanging on a clothesline or airing in the window, they knew they could safely stop at that house.
Okay. Thank you very much. So that is something that we can put there. I'm going to pop you out. Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So that would be a piece of evidence we could place here to show about secret codes that help Black people or Africans get to safety during slavery. One more example, and then we're going to wrap up class. For this bottom section, it talks about what you better understand about the historical significance of slave codes during slavery. Your answer may sound something like this. I better understand that during slavery, slave codes were a form of communication that united Africans from all over and allowed traditions to be passed down. All right. On your other side, you would put something else that you better understand about the use of slave codes during slavery. So, our piece of evidence. Africans who had been captured and enslaved came from many countries and spoke different languages. They handed on their traditions by telling stories and making quilts. Tribes that had no written language taught ancestral customs, events, and legends through textiles. Okay, so we have our answer, we have our evidence. What does this show? My next piece would be, what does this piece of evidence show? Okay. Is
And we're
there
looking
any?
to see, okay.
Go ahead.
We're looking to see what does this evidence show in regards to saying that slave quilts were a form of communication that united Africans from all over and allowed their traditions to be passed down. So we're trying to make that connection. How does this piece of evidence show us that this was a form of communication and it united the slaves?
Oh, sorry, y'all. Okay, there we go. If you have an answer, you can write it in the bottom. This piece of evidence shows what? This piece of evidence highlights what? Remember, whatever your reason is to go directly back to your answer. Can we get a sentence from at least one or two students for the reason section? A second chance. Remember to tie it back to some language from your claim.
You're thinking about how was it a form of communication or how it allowed traditions to be passed down. Drop your comments in the comments section. What does this piece of evidence show us? Again, your sentence should tie back to how does it show us that it was a form of communication, or how does it show us that traditions were passed down based on the evidence we've provided? Drop your comments in the comments section. What does this evidence show?
We're going to wait a couple, well, like 30 more seconds for the sake of time, because we do have some announcements to make before our live session is over. So about 30 more seconds, if you could please drop your sentence below. This piece of evidence shows, or this piece of evidence explains what? Tie your answer back to your claim.
How does this paragraph, this evidence, show us that the slave quilts were a form of communication? And how does it show us that it allowed for them to pass down their traditions? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. So, I like that. It shows us that the quilts became maps. Yes. So a part of your homework is completing this chart. Again, the pre-filled in chart will be posted of what we've done so far. And it's up to you to finish the rest. Again, this is on page 12. Or if you don't have the packet, it's on a blank sheet of paper for you to take a picture of and send us. All right. All right. There will be no live lesson for ELA on Thursday. There is no school. There will be no live lessons from any of your teachers to our understanding on Thursday, because once again, there is no school. All right, your homework, which is due next Tuesday at 9 in the morning. Complete the chart we just went over. Go ahead and complete the 5-paragraph essay. And also go ahead and complete your Edge Elastic assignment number 4. We will post a skeleton to help you write your essay, and you can send all your completed work to myself or Miss O at Miss_Simmons_ or Heartbeat of Southeast. If you cannot do Edulastic, Mr. Hurd, I know you told me that before, go ahead and do Common Lit. All right, so once again, thank you for your participation today. We greatly appreciate it. We cannot have class completely without your participation. All right, Ms. O, do you have anything else to add before we end?
Just you guys, thank you so much for your participation. Everyone was on task and focused and helping one another out and contributing to the lesson. That is so important for us to get the most out of our time together. Thank you so much. You guys, make sure you're staying safe. Make sure you're taking precautions, washing your hands, staying in as much as possible. Again, as always, we love you and we look forward to touching base with you again throughout the week. Make sure you drop your names in our DM so we can give you attendance credit. Make sure you submit your assignments. Have a good week.
Have a good week, you all. Be safe. Bye.
Bye-bye.